In this video, I'm going to explain why your life is immeasurably valuable, why you matter, and not in a really fluffy, motivational way, but with a grounded approach. So what I ask you is to watch all the way through because there's a lot that I want to share with you. So to start, I'm going to share a story with you about my old friend, Edward. So Eddie and I trained at the same martial arts gym, and we both trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu together. So he was just a guy who was always present at the gym. Like if you walked into the gym between classes, you'd probably be greeted with the sight of Eddie doing a few rounds in the heavy bag, throwing some roundhouse kicks and just always in the mats, always training. And from time to time, me and Eddie would spar, and he might show me a bit of technique or a few of his setups, and he was always down for a chat, always down to chill. And Eddie was a super fit guy. He was just in insane shape. But beyond that, Ed was just super full of life, just glowing with energy and positivity. And he was just always the type of guy who just bled off of really positive energy and just wanted to give back to those around him. He was really the type of guy that you just really wanted to keep around. And he was a fixture. You just never thought anything much of it. Just a guy who you could rely on. And he would always be there. But one day I was on my phone and I happened to be scrolling through Instagram, and I saw a story with Eddie's picture and had a caption that just said, "Can't believe it." And when I read that, I thought, surely not. It's not what I think it is. Then I flick my thumb across the screen and go to the next story, and it's another picture of Edward, and it's details for his funeral. And I just remember just being on my phone and just putting it down, and I was in disbelief. I thought, this can't be possible. How could Edward be gone? I only spoke to him a few days or a week ago. So I messaged a few guys from the gym just to find out what happened. Was this some sort of cruel joke? But they confirmed the worst, and there'd been a horrible accident. And I saw the news articles and everything. And yet I still couldn't believe it. I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't real. And Eddie's funeral was that same weekend. And going there was just harrowing because there were his parents, his girlfriend, all the guys and girls from the gym, and Eddie was a personal trainer, so some of his clients were there as well. So it was just gathering all of the people who loved and cared for Eddie. And one of the hardest things was just seeing his parents break down, and also having our head coach from our martial arts gym give Eddie his black belt for jiu-jitsu and draping the belt over his coffin. But even after the ceremony, and even when I went home, it still didn't feel real. It still felt like I could go to the gym and I could just expect Eddie to come in through the door and go, "Hey Boateng, what's up? What's going on?" And I was struck with the thought, how could someone full of so much zest and energy for life be taken from us? How could that happen? It just didn't make sense. And I share that story with you partially to honor Eddie, but also as a reminder for us to just remember how fragile and precious life is. If a young man in his prime can have life taken from him, then it can be taken from any of us. And I know this idea is really confronting, the idea of confronting your own death. I know it can be scary, but I think it's necessary for us to confront it because there's no light without darkness, and you can't truly understand the beauty of life without confronting the idea of your own death. In the words of Carl Jung, no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Death is a great equalizer and one of the few things that is guaranteed in life. Every person will know its embrace. So if it's a certainty that we will die, our lives should be a practice on how to live and how to die well. A practice on how to live life on our own terms. A life lived fully, unashamed, and unafraid. So you might be wondering, why even live life fully? What's the point? What's at stake if I deny my purpose? So to help build a perspective, let's invoke the great Stoic philosopher Seneca with a bit of a quote. So in Seneca's words, he says, "Remember that all we have is on loan from fortune, which can reclaim it without our permission. Indeed, without even advance notice. Thus, we should love all our dear ones, but always with the thought that we have no promise that we may keep them forever. Nay, no promise even that we may keep them for long. I like this quote from Seneca because it's haunting, and it lays bare the fragility and the finitude of life. And on that note, I've always found it fascinating when people say that they have time. They'll say something like, I don't have to worry about that, I've got time. And that thing that they're saying that they're not worrying about, it might be they don't have to worry about cultivating their mind or their health, or they don't have to worry about focusing on their life's purpose right now, or their life's mission, or the things or the people that they love. They don't have to focus on that right now. They can wait. Those things can wait because they have time. And I think that idea is pure delusion. You do not have time. None of us do. Time is just something that we temporarily have access to. It's not something that you own or have. So perhaps it was some sort of quirk of the universe or divine intervention that placed us here. But nonetheless, time is not something that you have or own or possess in any sense of the word. It's simply a miracle of existence that you're able to experience time, however briefly. So, to take a bit of a step deeper towards some grim truths, do you think that the people who died today thought that today would be their last day on earth? Probably not. No one thinks it is. No one really goes out of the door thinking this is going to be my last day on earth, unless, of course, unfortunately or sadly, they're terminally ill. But most people believe that life is just going to continue in perpetuity. But the idea of death, the concept of death, it's going to occur and happen to us all one day. And life, in a way, is an invisible game of Russian roulette. But it's a game of Russian roulette that we're all destined to one day lose. And to go a bit further into some uncomfortable truths, one thing I've heard is, and this again is difficult to say, but it's true, but when a young person dies, it's often said they died before their time. And this may seem harsh, but who defines what their time is? Fortune, as Seneca said, can reclaim all at any time. And it's a tragedy when the young die. As I've shared with my story of Eddie, it is a tragedy. But there's no time that's guaranteed here for us on earth. There's no time that's guaranteed. It's all borrowed from fortune, as Seneca said. And I know everything that I've said may seem really harsh, and it may seem confronting, and you may even find everything that I've said to be a source of anxiety towards that death. But I think if you dig a bit deeper, you'll find that everything that I've said can be a source of great peace, gratitude, and motivation. So consider a few things. Throughout all of history, every great and horrible name has known death. From Alexander the Great to Martin Luther King, from Virgil to Genghis Khan, from Marcus Aurelius to Basquiat, from Marie Curie to Rosa Parks, from Da Vinci to Michelangelo, Cleopatra to Boudica. Despite their greatness being etched in history and their glorified heights that they achieved, you hold a treasure that is beyond them all, the miracle of life. Consider what any of those people would have done for just one more day on earth. A chance to breathe deeply and experience all the wondrous delights that life has to offer. Yet they can't, and here you are. Every single billionaire on earth would trade all that they've got for more of what you have. We've scanned the stars and we cannot find it anywhere else. There are estimated to have been 117 billion humans to have ever lived. So that means that more than 90% of all humans that have ever existed throughout all of history have died. Life, a treasure beyond measure. The stakes of you not living your purpose escapes words. Your unique signature upon reality will never come again. There will never be another you with the makeup, memories, and experiences that you have. So for me, this is not a reason for anxiety towards death, but gratitude. The consequence of this is that you mean something. The grand story of humanity is incomplete without you in it. Now, I can already see that there may be some nihilists out there, and they might be saying some rubbish like, when I die, it'll all turn to black, and everyone who ever remembered me or knew me will be dead. I'll be blunt, I think that view is complete and utter garbage. I completely reject this idea. You don't live your life as if it has no meaning, nor should you. Even if it all turns to black when we die, and even if the universe will be a formless mass in a trillion years, you're living in the here, right now, in a world full of life and meaning. Perhaps in 1 billion years, no one will know how you lived your life, but right now, you will. You will know whether you lived a good life or not, and that's what matters. Here's a few truths to keep in mind. Every single one of your ancestors fought to survive. There's an unbroken chain from the dawn of life on Earth to your own life. Each and every one of your predecessors had to survive and thrive for you to exist. Their vital flame burns within you, a unique spark that will never come again. The fact that you matter means that your life now has stakes. There is now a valuable resource that you hold. Are you using it wisely? This question is the reason for anxiety. Not an anxiety towards death, but an anxiety towards life. The anxiety in knowing that you hold a gift most precious, beyond great kings, emperors, messiahs, and philosophers of old. This is a worthy reason to be anxious, knowing that there is a life that you aren't living that exists parallel to your own. A few daily choices that you deny, compounded moment by moment. Untapped potential slips through your fingers like grains of sand. Do not let this frighten you. Alchemize this anxiety into something useful. Let it ignite the spark within you, guiding your path through the darkness. Remember, no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Let me know your thoughts below. Have you struggled with your life mattering? Do you think life matters? Thanks for watching. Check the links below. Check out my Substack where I publish articles once a week, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video, and check out this video for more. Until next time.